A good evening to you wherever you're joining us from on this 10th day of the month of July, a month that has begun on quite interesting marches happening across the country as well as also beyond our borders. But first, before we dive into the Thursday edition of the KUTV Prime Time News, let's take a look at tonight's top stories. PPP party condemns President Ruto's directive to shoot but don't kill, terming it unconstitutional. Manyata MP John Gitonga Mukunji appears at the Kahawa Law Courts facing accusations of incitement to violence. Leaders led by President William Ruto mourn the death of Kenya's Chief Kutv Sheikh Athman Abdullahim Hussein. Call for justice over slain victims in the Sabasaba protests. My director Milton Conchella tells me that I'm on my own as we sail through, but I believe I'm not alone because I'm with you right there at home as you enjoy this briefing of the Thursday edition of the KUTV Prime Time News. With me, Emmanuel Kutosi, in the sign language interpretation. We'll be joined by Sami Okelo. Now, protesters have been urged to follow the law during demonstrations. Speaking at State House, President William Ruto also continued to accuse the opposition leaders of lacking an alternative plan to solve the country's challenges. The president further urged the youth to be cautious and not to allow themselves to be used by politicians who have bad intentions and are seeking fame through violence.
President William Ruto has maintained his call for protesters to obey the law during demonstrations. He warned that violence, destruction of property and incitement will not be tolerated, adding that he will use his constitutional powers to completely clamp down on lawlessness during protests.
And as president, I will make sure, by all means possible, by God's grace, to make sure that we unite this nation. We come together, build this nation together, because that is the essence of patriotism and nationhood. That is how we move the country forward.
Speaking on Thursday, President Ruto said that the government is committed to creating job opportunities for the youth and urged them to take advantage of existing opportunities to improve their lives. Either he added that a peaceful environment is crucial for investments and therefore called on young people to end the frequent protests.
We have streamlined the program of Kenyans being able to work outside Kenya. And it's not just working outside Kenya. Ask any global company. They will tell you the best human capital, the best global workforce is the Kenyan workforce.
Either President Ruto also cautioned the youth, popularly known as Gen Z, against being used by politicians for their selfish gains. He emphasized that the youth should be a force for positive change and not tools for violence and political division. The president also accused opposition leaders of being self-centered and power-hungry.
Politics of ethnicity and division and hate and the politics that creates divisions among us Kenyans. I will stand very firm. Yeah. We have a broad-based government today because I reached out.
Echoing President William Ruto's sentiments, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja urged the youth to use their talents and reject leaders who incite violence in the country.
But if you believe in yourself, if you're diligent, if you focus, you can achieve what your heart sets its mind to. And it's a lesson to all our young people in this country. Because there's been a lot of despair. There's been a lot of depression. And even politicians taking advantage of the sad situation of our young people.
The remarks come at a time when the country continues to experience social and political unrest, as the government insists on the need to maintain peace, unity and respect for the rule of law. Stephen Masha, Kutv, Nairobi.
Thank you, Stephen Masha, for that report. Now, the Democratic Citizens Party, DCP, has condemned President William Ruto's directive of shoot but don't kill, describing it as unconstitutional and a threat to civil liberties. Speaking to journalists in Nairobi, the party's national organizing secretary, Mithika Linturi, said the directive could fuel an increase in extrajudicial killings perpetrated by security forces. He alleged that the government has been deliberately deploying state-sponsored goons in the Mount Kenya region to suppress dissent, a move he said is unconstitutional. And elsewhere, Manyata Member of Parliament John Gitonga Mukunji today appeared at the Kahawa Law Courts facing accusations of incitement to violence and potentially terrorism under repressive charges. His detention has been widely denounced as politically charged, leading to widespread unrest in Embu County and demands from his supporters and political allies to be released.
Even though he alleged to be sick, he still appeared to the court. Manyata lawmaker John Mukunji arrived at the Kahawa Law Court in ambulance where he is accused of inciting youth, an allegation that was highly opposed by his lawyers. Advocate Negwanjiru, representing the lawmaker Gitonga Mukunji, launched a strong defense against the terrorism charges brought before the Kahawa Law Courts. During cross-examination of DCI Chief Inspector Desterio Mukaga, Njiru questioned why the charges were filed without an independent professional opinion. He emphasized that cross-examination is a constitutional right, especially in a case where personal liberty is at stake. Njiru argued that the arrest and charges were politically motivated and lacked proper legal grounding.
What am I saying, Your Honor? I am saying that you have the power and the authority to rescue the country from this trap of political intimidation, political harassment, and political manipulation.
Ndengwa criticized the arrest of Inoro TV journalist James Mbochi, stating that detaining him curtails the freedom of the press, which is clearly articulated in the Article 34 in the chapter number 4 of the Constitution.
Do you understand why the second respondent is before you? The description given by the IO is that the second respondent is a journalist. For the mere fact that the second respondent is a journalist, he finds himself before you. What is that the state did not want the journalist to cover? What is that they never wanted the journalist to expose? And is being a journalist a crime?
Advocate Ondieki, on the other hand, defended the right to cross-examine the investigating officer in Mukunji's case, stating it is a constitutional safeguard, especially where personal liberty is at stake. He condemned Mukunji's prolonged detention in 14 days, stating that it is against democratic rights.
The threshold is found in Article 49, 1F Roman 1 and 1F Roman 2. It says if you arrest any person, then you have to bring him to court, which is a court of competent jurisdiction, within 24 hours. So what are the exceptions in this case? If there is anything that they want to limit their rights, then the threshold you want to measure is 24 hours. Because the Constitution has defined when you have to bring someone to court.
The court is expected to rule on both the bail application and the legality of the terrorism charges, with Njiru's submissions playing the key role in influencing the outcome. Vincent Karoli, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Vincent, for that report. Now, various leaders in the Republic, led by President William Ruto, have continued to mourn the death of Kenya's Chief Kadhi Sheikh Athman Abdulathim Hussein, whose death has been confirmed, or rather was confirmed this morning by his brother Sheikh Abdullahim Hussein.
Leading the nation in mourning, President William Ruto, through his X account, has acknowledged Sheikh Athman Hussein as a religious leader who had devoted his life to the service of humanity. The part of his post read, and I quote, "He will be remembered as a great Islamic scholar who was committed to justice." While talking to his X account, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga also offered his condolences to the family, friends, and the community of the Muslim community. Raila stated, and I quote, "May Allah grant his soul eternal peace. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun." The Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, through his note of condolence in his X account, acknowledged Sheikh Athman as a respected scholar. Kalonzo wrote, and I quote, "May God give you comfort, patience, and strength to bear this great loss." The judiciary, through the Chief Justice Martha Koome, also mourned the passing of Sheikh Hussein in a letter published online. The letter read, and I quote, "His passing is a great loss not only to the judiciary, but also to the whole country." Additionally, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Aden Duale, also mourned the death of Sheikh Hussein, acknowledging him as a great religious leader. In his death, Sheikh Hussein has remarkably been recognized as a great leader who was responsible for handling family matters among Muslims and overseeing Kutv court registries. Edna Nerea, KUTV, Nairobi.
All right, may the Sheikh rest in peace. Now, elsewhere, the government has announced the temporary closure of sugar milling operations in Kenya's upper and lower western regions, citing an acute shortage of mature sugarcane. Now, the shutdown, which takes effect from the 11th of July, that is tomorrow, will last for 3 months and affects major millers, including Mumia Sugar, Butali, Nzoia, West Kenya and Busia sugar industries. To allow cane to mature and stabilize the industry, all affected millers have been directed to pause operations and scale up cane development during the shutdown period.
The biggest problem we have in this sector is the fact that we do not have sufficient cane. In fact, it's such a problem that almost there's no way which passes before we hear allegations and counter allegations of somebody watching somebody else's cane. Right now, it's a bit quieter where we are now in the central region, but in the western, we always having these dogfights.
Now, moving on, families of slain victims on the Sabasaba protest who were allegedly killed by police officers continue to mourn their loved ones. The families are now demanding for justice as questions continue to mount heavily on armed police with military-grade weapons deployed in violation of court orders, using masks and unmarked vehicles to conceal their identities during the Sabasaba protests.
The homestead of Edward Ndambiri in Kutosi town, grief and somber mood engulfed the air. Family, friends and relatives struggled to come to terms with the untimely demise of their loved one. He was just 25. Few meters away is another family, crushed, shattered and broken, the pain too difficult to bear.
Vile Kenya hiko kuna machozi mingi sana kwa sababu wale watu wamekufa, vijana wamekufa. Last year up to today hawezi kosa hata kama vijana 200.
Edward Ndambiri and Peter Masharia adds to the long list of those fell by alleged police bullet during the Sabasaba protest. According to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, at least 31 people were killed, 107 people nursing injuries, while 2 cases of forced disappearance were recorded, with 532 arrests made during the recent Sabasaba protests. As the families of 2 slain protesters continue to mourn their kins, questions continue to mount heavily on armed police officers with military-grade weapons deployed in violation of court orders, using masks and unmarked vehicles to conceal their identities, with zero accountability so far from authorities. Until now, the question of who are these killer squad captured on camera, believed to be police officers who gave the orders, remain unanswered, with the opposition accusing the National Intelligence Service boss Nuruddin Haji of orchestrating the squad that meted terror on Kenyans.
A killer squad of 101 that works under the Director General of the National Intelligence Service, Nuruddin Haji, was armed with assault rifles,
and drove in a convoy of unmarked Subarus, shooting and killing innocent protesters aimlessly in the streets and estates. These squad in Subarus, hooded and masked against court orders, are disguising themselves as DCI's officers, yet we know they are not. In fact, I would like to clarify that the National Intelligence Service has procured Subarus to give an impression that this killer gang is from the DCI. The truth of the matter is that this has nothing to do with the DCI. This is the National Intelligence Service.
Ati wanataka kupanga fujo, ati wapange maandamano, ati wachome mali ya watu, ati walete maafa Kenya, ati ndio wapindue serikali ya Kenya kabla ya 2027. Mimi nataka niwaambie wajaribu, watajua hawajui.
Well, to me, I don't think there's gonna be any justice. To me, there should be something that should have been done more than just granting like some few funds to the family. But for anyone else who be done wrong, we just say sorry as the Gen Zs, but I don't think there's gonna be any justice, truth be told.
What began as a call for justice and good governance quickly unraveled into one of the most volatile days in recent national memory, a grim echo of countries past, deaths, injury, looting and destruction of properties. The story of two young men who allegedly met their end in the cruel hands of police officers mirrors that of 31 others who met their fate in similar fashion. For the families who have been left with fond memories of their kin, their only hope is that they will get justice and closure they so much yearn for. Auma Evans for KUTV, Nairobi.
Now, Monday is just like 3 days back. It was like 3 days back when we've lost 31 people, according to reports from the Kenya Human Rights Commission. 31 lives were lost during the protest. It's something that is coming up and something that is of concern, particularly all over the country, and not only for the youth, who are majority of the casualties who were met within the protest. And this will make the basis of our conversation later tonight as we interact with legal analyst and governance analyst Mike Oyaro in diving deeper and understanding what is the endgame of these motions that we are seeing. There are a lot of aggression, particularly met on protesters by the police, and also matters that we view could be coming up. We'll be able to pick his brain and also be able to get more insight on the matters that we are getting a live feed of within our very nation. We take a short break right here on the Thursday edition of the KUTV Primetime News. Don't go too far. We'll be back in a moment.
Na uso wa jamii, kupanda shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ngari. Ni mwanamke wake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimweli.
Miti, panda. Miti. Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome. Welcome back to the Thursday edition of the KUTV Prime Time News that is also streaming live to you through our YouTube platform at KUTV News Kenya, on Facebook on KUTV Kenya, and of course we invite you to join the conversation on our X platform at KUTV_Kenya as you reach out to me at _Emmanuel Kutosi. Let's get back on the road where the Kenya Wildlife Service is now seeking to increase park access fees, citing multiple financial and operational challenges that have left the country's wildlife protection efforts on the brink. KWS has gazetted new regulations proposing a revised conservation fee structure. The move comes as the agency grapples with a massive 12 billion shilling annual funding gap, which it says is hampering anti-poaching operations, habitat restoration, and response to rising human-wildlife conflicts. The service says without additional resources, the country is risking to lose not just biodiversity but also livelihoods tied to the wildlife economy, impacting over 1 million Kenyans from community scouts to tour operators and hoteliers. All right, we move on to a matter concerning a land dispute where a family in Pith Kongaro village, Migori County, is seeking justice after their loved one was shot following a land dispute. It is alleged that the shooter, a well-known man in the village, has been issuing death threats to the family for some time. Pauletta Koth dives into this report in detail.
Fear has gripped Pith Kongaro village in Uriri sub-county Migori after a young man, Charles Okello, was shot by a man said to be well known in the area following boundary dispute over land. The conflict, which has lasted for 3 years, has left Charles' family living in fear for their lives due to ongoing death threats from the suspects.
Tulivamiwa na watu ambao tumeijua kamili. Watu ambao inanishtua. Au wote ako nje sahi, bunduki hajakamatwa, na mtoto yangu iko kwa hospitali, walipiga na bunduki na sasa sijui.
The family claims that the suspect fraudulently obtained a death certificate for Patrick Okello, Charles' father, as part of a scheme to illegally acquire the disputed land.
We've undergone a lot of threats of life, and most of them we've reported with the police, ranging from Moyani up to Uriri. We even made an attempt of reaching the CCIO and county commander. But this matter has never been resolved.
However, the family's attempts to seek justice through the courts have been unsuccessful as the case has faced significant delays. They say the inaction has only intensified the threats and worsened tensions, blaming authorities for not taking proper action.
I only need a protection from the government. I don't want to take law in my hand. I want justice to be done. Please, government, help me. The gun should be recovered.
Charles is currently receiving treatment at Migori County Referral Hospital. According to the officer commanding station at Uriri Police Station, the suspect has been arrested and investigations are ongoing. The family has been assured that justice will be served once the investigation is complete. Paulette Akoth, KUTV.
All right, public institutions at both the national and county levels will now be able to be required to seek guidance from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, before setting any salaries or benefits. This follows the Supreme Court ruling affirming that the SRC has the final say in determining how much public officers can earn. The judgment was delivered in response to a petition filed by the defunct NHIF board, which sought to implement a collective bargaining agreement without first seeking SRC's advice. In the ruling, the court dismissed the appeal and upheld a Court of Appeal decision declaring that the SRC's role is not merely consultative but binding, as outlined in Article 230 of the Constitution. The court also reaffirmed that the NHIF is a public body, its staff are public officers, and their wages drawn from public funds must be subjected to constitutional oversight. All right, we take a short break right here within the KUTV Thursday edition. We'll be back with the day's conversation.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mukwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu umwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia,
they find it quite strange talking to you.
You should just make schools integrated,
inclusive setups,
by providing the right facilities.
In a world where uncertainty rules and opportunities are scarce, it's time to break from the barrier and unlock your full potential.
We must live within our means. We cannot spend money that we don't have.
We will explore the fascinating world of investment, shared secrets, business strategies and entrepreneurship.
Sasa challenges ziko mingi sana. Parking ya mzigo imekuwa mbaya. Unaweka pesa yako na kataa kurudi.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, what you covered with invaluable insights to help you succeed.
Now, this year we have seen a rebound in the economy, which is well above the global average of 3%.
Join me, Anyango Sylvia, every Sunday and Monday on KUTV News at 9, and let's turn your dreams into reality.
For over half a century, these hallowed grounds have nurtured minds, ignited passions, and shaped leaders. Here, where inquiry knows no bounds, another chapter closes. At Kenyatta University, we celebrate more than just degrees. We celebrate futures unfolding, grounded in ethics-guided research and technology. Our graduates step forward equipped with knowledge, driven by purpose, and ready to make their mark on the world. From pioneering technologies to leading ethics-guided research, our alumni are shaping our tomorrow. KU's legacy isn't just in the past. It is in the enduring pursuit of knowledge, the unwavering commitment to service, the courage to ask the difficult questions. The KU class of 2025, prepared to lead, empowered by education for ethics-guided research and technology, the world awaits their brilliance. Kenyatta University will hold the 57th graduation ceremony on the 18th July 2025 from 8 a.m. at KU Main Campus Graduation Square. The ceremony will also be streamed live on KU TV, KU Radio, YouTube, KU website, all KU social media platforms. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 020-870-3092 or 0786-335-111 or visit the KU website on www.ku.ac.ke. Hashtag KU 57th Graduation. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives.
healthcare workers in Embu County have condemned recent violent attacks during protest, including an assault on Kitengela Sub-County Hospital during the launch of a new medical college in Embu Town. Dr. Kenneth Ideri called on the government to provide 24-hour armed protection.
Meet visionaries driving change.
Somebody who is in the underground mine doesn't know the presence of those gases. So there are a lot of gases involved. There is methane, there is carbon monoxide, and there is also hydrogen sulfide. These gases actually, they are very dangerous and they are very toxic.
And discover the endless possibilities of the tech world.
Badala ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila woga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
For over half a century, these hallowed grounds have nurtured minds, ignited passions, and shaped leaders. Here, where inquiry knows no bounds, another chapter closes. At Kenyatta University, we celebrate more than just degrees. We celebrate futures unfolding, grounded in ethics-guided research and technology. Our graduates step forward equipped with knowledge, driven by purpose, and ready to make their mark on the world. From pioneering technologies to leading ethics-guided research, our alumni are shaping our tomorrow. KU's legacy isn't just in the past, it is in the enduring pursuit of knowledge, the unwavering commitment to service, the courage to ask the difficult questions. The KU class of 2025, prepared to lead, empowered by education for ethics-guided research and technology, the world awaits their brilliance. Kenyatta University will hold the 57th graduation ceremony on the 18th July 2025 from 8 a.m. at KU Main Campus Graduation Square. The ceremony will also be streamed live on KU TV, KU Radio, YouTube, KU website, all KU social media platforms. For more information, please contact the Office of the Registrar Academic on 020-870-3092 or 0786-335-111 or visit the KU website on www.ku.ac.ke. Hashtag KU 57th Graduation. Kenyatta University, transforming higher education, enhancing lives.
Kenyatta, our nation's pride, University of our time.
Imagine a world where you are empowered to take charge of your health, where you are well informed about the latest advancements in healthcare and understand the policies that impact your well-being. Get ready to take charge of matters your health as we bring you a blend of weekly health features that engage professionals from across various medical fields.
When do you decide as a patient, do I need to go see the doctor? We are at a stage where we are seeing all this manner of chronic illnesses and we wait until we get a disease and then is when we go ahead.
From the most mundane to the complexities that perhaps seem overwhelming, we got you covered.
In terms of the factors that might be attributed, there are
hereditary factors. That means it could be genetic. So that's one factor. But there are other factors as well, like nutritional deficiencies. So some vitamins, such as folate, have been identified to be a factor in those. So
our mission is to break down intricate health topics into understandable and actionable insights. Join me, Yvonne Kemoma, every Wednesday 9 p.m. on KUTV's News at 9, where your health is our priority.
Where we ask the coolest questions in science. Let's go! Is yogurt really just rotten milk? Why do humans need sharks to survive? How did a 12-year-old boy from Africa invent modern vanilla farming? How do you deliver medicine to a chimpanzee? Can poop be useful? How can you save the planet by reducing air pollution? To help us answer these questions, we are inviting some wonderful guests from the world of science. They will enlighten you, make you hungry for knowledge, oxygenate your brain, and make your ideas flow. This is Engine Season 3. Let's go!
In a world where uncertainty rules and opportunities are scarce, it's time to break from the barrier and unlock your full potential.
We must live within our means. We cannot spend money that we don't have.
We will explore the fascinating world of investment, trade secrets, business strategies, and entrepreneurship.
Sasa challenges ziko mingi sana. Packing ya mzigo imekuwa mbaya. Unaweka pesa yako inakataa kurudi.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, what you covered with invaluable insights to help you succeed.
Now, this year we have seen a rebound in the economy, which is well above the global average of the 3%.
Join me, Anyango Sylvia, every Sunday and Monday on KUTV News at 9, and let's turn your dreams into reality.
All right, we are swinging into the sporting arena where the Harambee Stars officially commence their presidential camp today in preparation for the upcoming CHAN 2024 tournament. The squad was formally welcomed to camp on the 10th, or rather today, by Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya, accompanied by Sports Principal Secretary Elijah Mwangi, FKF President Hussein Mohammed, and other dignitaries.
I'm here to bring success to this country, and the players that we've selected is the players that we've seen, the players that I've had in camp, and they were just unfortunate when you go and play World Cup qualifiers, international players come, so you can't select everyone. So now it's based on local camp. So those are the players that you've seen, and you see the qualities and where they can take the team. So do you risk taking someone based on a couple of good games, or knowing what you're going to have when you've seen players? And that's how we selected. Yeah, we know everyone is not going to be happy with how the team is selected, but everyone has not been where I've been. So I have an eye, and I know talent when I see one, and the players that we've selected, that we picked, were by far the players that I think and the technical team think that can take this team, and then we're not going to just participate in the CHAN.
To rally and support Harambee Stars. This is a team also which is reflective of Kenya, and therefore it is a great lesson for patriotism, in our country, because when it comes to Harambee Stars, there is no region, there is no political party, there is no tribe. What we see is Kenya and our players carrying the Kenyan dream.
Paris Saint-Germain dismantled Real Madrid in a matchup of the semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup to book a date with Chelsea in the finals. Fabian Ruiz opened the score sheet before French winger Ousmane Dembele raced away 3 minutes later to finish calmly after a miss kick from Antonio Rudiger. Ruiz then slotted home a third after a fantastic give and go between Achraf Hakimi and Dembele before Goncalo Ramos in the 87th minute to strike and make it 4-0. Paris Saint-Germain will return to the MetLife Stadium on Sunday as strong favourites against Enzo Maresca's Chelsea and add yet another piece of silverware, having won a domestic double as well as the Champions League. Alright, we are safely jetting out of the Thursday edition of the KUTV Prime Time News. Unfortunately, we were not able to have that discussion that was heavily awaited with legal and governance analyst Mike Oyaro concerning the matters of abductions and also matters concerning habeas corpus and understanding what it's all about and how it's being violated, if it is being violated particularly within the country. But unfortunately, we were not able to have that discussion. But we'll be sure to have more for you, particularly tomorrow with Mutegi K. Martin, who will be taking you through the Friday night bulletin as he sails us into the weekend. But from me, Emmanuel Kutosi, and my colleague on the sign language interpretation, Sami Okelo. It's a great goodbye to you, and also thank you for staying viewing to us right here within the presence of the Kenyatta University, and also to the whole team behind the scenes, ensuring that we have a smooth flow, led by the one and only Emmanuel Conchella and guided by Levis Nomoto. We appreciate you greatly, and also the great team that is behind the compilation of the various reports of tonight's broadcast. To you at home, it's stay safe, good night, see you next time.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of